Coach. Appreciate you taking the time today.
Thanks, Allie.
We'll get started here with Rube and then John McMullen. Rube, you're on mute.
Hey, Nick, hope you got some sleep last night. I'm guessing you didn't get much. I wanted to ask you, it's a two-part question. The two parts are actually related. Safety position, you're obviously thin there. Without knowing Reed's availability for Sunday, what's the plan there? Are you comfortable with what you have? And Mekhi Garner, at what point did you start giving him reps at safety, or did he not have any? And what do you think of the way he played?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so obviously we'll monitor Reed. We've been banged up at this position, as you guys know. It's kind of, when it rains, it pours on that position, right? Because it's just we've been, the injuries have gotten us there, and we continue to. But our guys, our defensive coaches did a really nice job of getting Mekhi reps. These last couple weeks, he's been doing it for the last couple weeks, and that's you just got to be able to do that with guys consistently throughout the year. Just because you're limited in the amount of players you have, you're limited to the amount of guys you can have up on game day. And so, good job by Mekhi. I thought he did it. I thought he did a nice job. I mean, he hasn't played a lot of safety outside of practice, so I thought he did a nice job under the circumstances. And he'll continue to improve. But one thing he does have, and I credit Howie and his staff too, of what they look for, and what we, and us being on the same page of what we look for. They look for guys with traits, and Mekhi's big, strong, can run, and so he did some nice things in preseason there at corner, and so you can work with guys like that. And so Mekhi came in and did a nice job in his first his first reps at safety. So, yeah, we'll have some. Hopefully we get Sydney back. We'll see. Again, don't like to get too much into that because I don't know yet, and there's a lot of week to be left to play until we have to make that decision or see if he can. But hopefully we're getting a couple guys back and feel good about it, and we'll see. I know how he's always working to put ourselves in great spots as far as personnel goes.
Go ahead, John, and then Dave.
Hey, Nick. Obviously, it's difficult when you lose a player like Lane Johnson in game. Curious though, why there wasn't more of a shift away from 11. You guys played I think over 80% 11, and when you lose a player like that, was there any thought of playing more 12 or even 13 to help?
I guess I wouldn't. I guess. I think I know what you're going at, but I don't know if the 11 to 12 to 13, right? It's all
just more help in the blocking aspect to try to give Jack a little bit more help.
Yeah, that might not. Those personnel groupings might not necessarily equal what you're suggesting. But as far as the more help. Again, we got a lot of faith in Jack and the things that he can do, and we've won a lot of big games there with him playing. Of course, you're always going to look at it and say, hey, could we have done more here, done more there? There's different types of help that you can give to a defensive or an offensive line. Sometimes that help comes with an immediate thump on the side by the tight end or a receiver, which we sprinkled some of those in there yesterday. And sometimes the thump help or the chip help or whatever you want to call it comes from the back. And so when it's coming from the back, and some of those were the calls too as the game progressed. And sometimes with the back, you can't guarantee that he's going to get there because he provides help when he doesn't have protection responsibilities for himself. And so there's a lot of different ways you can do that, and but it's not always guaranteeing the help, even though when you might call it. I thought the one with the interception, I'll just say that was 100% on me. The interception where Jack's guy got free late, number 11 got free late. I'm taking that one with just I'm not going to get too much into the why. The players know why, and we discussed this at length of why I thought it was on myself. on that interception where Jalen got hit. But I'll take that one with the way the design of the play was on that one. So, but otherwise, we were giving him some help here and there. Again, you can't always 100% guarantee that he's going to get that help.
Go ahead, Dave, and then Tim.
Hey Nick, getting a chance to watch back that final drive with 1:46 left. What went wrong there, and why weren't you guys able to move the ball a little bit?
You're saying the last 4 plays?
Yes.
Yeah, again, it's always going to be into they're sinking out underneath stuff, forcing you to check it down, forcing you to go the long way down the field. And we did the one we had the first one to AJ. I'm actually probably more glad that was incomplete. So it takes a hit off AJ. It stops the clock. The second one, got a little bit of pressure off that right edge. We're on that particular play. The third one we completed underneath to Devontae, similar to the AJ one, and then the fourth one on fourth down. Hey, they're sinking out underneath everything and had everything kind of in front of them. Where we had to go past the sticks, and that one we didn't want to check it down in that situation. Being 4th and 6 or 7 or 8. So again, it was a little bit of the situation of the game, a little bit of, and like always, you're going to say, hey, we're going to say we want maybe a call back here and there, and there's an execution thing you want back here and there. So again, you win as a team, you lose as a team. We're all in it. We're all in it together. And so there wasn't one thing I could say. I kind of just tried to explain to you every single play. But there wasn't anything I can say, hey, this was the case. It was, again, when it's not going right, it's going to be hard to say it's all on, one thing. And in that case, it wasn't. It was on a bunch of different things.
We'll go to Tim and then Zach.
Hey, Nick, Tony Adams was talking about that third interception. He said that his coaches told him to fake like he was blitzing through the B gap and then a drop back, and they predicted that they would that Jalen would throw the ball right to him. So I'd like to know if, number one, if that's in fact what muddied that read for Jalen, and number two, in any way, does that speak towards tendencies either by Jalen or play calling that needs to be looked at?
Yeah, that's the second. I think that's like the second time we've run that play on third down. So if they're predicting, hey, they made a play, they made a really good play. If they're predicting that happened on that one, that's a pretty good prediction because we haven't run that a bunch in that scenario. But he made a good play. And hats off to them. And but I don't think it speaks to that predictability. Like, shoot, that ball can go a lot of different places in that one. So I don't know whether it's a predictability of us as coaches, whether it's a predictability of Jalen. I think that's I don't know. I think that's the thing somebody that they say sometimes, and they fall into the right area, and they did particular hats. Great play by that guy. He made a play. He took advantage of the opportunity that he got. But we're always looking at self-scout. We're always thinking about tendencies. We're always thinking about Jalen and where he's going with the football, and all those different things are always taken into account. Trust me, Tim, there are times where I'm like, yeah, man, we showed this one and we showed it too many times. This one, I don't necessarily feel that way on this one, but good play by them and helped them win the game.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Zach, and then Jimmy.
Hey, good afternoon, Nick. Following up on Lane Johnson, what's his status? And if he does miss time, is Jack Driscoll the guy there like you had with Sua a few weeks ago, or will you open that up to the other linemen as well?
Yeah, Zach, obviously we're really early, real early. And so, got to see Lane today, got to talk to Lane today. Status is to be announced, right? We'll see how it goes. I know Lane's going to want to do everything he can do to play. We're going to want to do everything we can do to get him to play. He's one of the best players in the NFL. It's going to be important that he's on the field. Again, like I said, Jack Driscoll, we've won a lot of football games with Jack Driscoll there playing, a little bit in last year when Lane had to miss too. But don't make no mistake about it. When you lose a guy like Lane, again, he's just one of the better players in the NFL. It's going to affect things. But I got a ton of confidence in Jack. We'll continue to work with Jack. Jack's versatile and can do a lot of different things. We'll try to put Jack in the best positions we can to help him succeed as well.
Go ahead, Jimmy, and then Martin.
Hey, Nick, in the Super Bowl, you tried to let the Chiefs score at the end of the game. They didn't cooperate, of course. That was an obvious, easy call for you guys to try to let them score. And then in this game, of course, you tried to let them score. They did cooperate. Maybe not as obvious of a situation in this game as it was in the Super Bowl. Probably could have gone either way. I'm just curious, what your analytics or like what the decision process was behind, letting them score on their final drive.
That's if we let them score.
Did you not let them score?
Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. I just don't think that's something that I want to get into. And that, because again, that's discussing a strategy thing that I don't think. I respect your question, and I know you guys got a job to do, but I just don't want to. There's some things that I'm always going to keep close to the vest. Y'all, yeah. So I'm going to keep that one close to the vest.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Martin, and then Bo.
Hey, Nick, if I could ask you another injury-related question. Guys like Jalen Carter, Darius Slay, Reed Blankenship, are these considered like long-term type of injuries? Do they have a chance to play this coming week? Any update you can give on that?
Yeah, it's still early, Martin. It's still really early. Again, we saw them. Obviously, we miss players like that. We want to get them back as soon as they can, but we also want to keep their health as the first and foremost thing, and make sure that they're in for the long haul and that they're ready to go when they play. So we got a lot of time. We got a lot of things to do before we play this game. A lot of time to go before we play this game. It's early on. You'll have more feel of where they are on Wednesday. So we'll see. We'll see. You said Jalen and Slay, and who else?
All right. Reed Blankenship
Reed, yeah.
and Roby.
Yeah, we'll see on all those guys. They're all they're all going to be in a little bit different categories as far as potential as timeout. But again, I just don't think it's I don't want to put unnecessary timetables on anything really, because there's just so many different things that can happen within the next couple of days. And so I'm going to always keep that close to the vest, as you know, not because I don't want to help you guys do your job, but more so because it's just there's so much time to play out, and our guys in the training room do an unbelievable job of helping guys get better, and also our guys do a great job of getting in there and helping themselves out and giving themselves every opportunity to play as soon as they can play.
Go ahead,
Thanks.
Bo, and then Chris.
Hey, Nick, not to make too much of one play, but the first play of the interception drive, DeAndre goes out of bounds there and stops the clock. In the past, we've seen you like pull a guy for making that mistake. I'm just curious what determines in your mind whether that's like a mistake that a guy needs to come off the field for.
You're not necessarily in 4 minute there, Bo. When you're up 3 points, or you're up 2 points, like a field goal beats you. Like, so there's things that happen in 4 minute that don't necessarily that when the score's different that are played a little bit differently. And what I mean by that is, like, for instance, like one thing you don't want to do, like you got to get a first down. Like, if we don't get a first down, then we give the ball back to them, and they're driving with just having to get in field goal range, and they got a really good kicker to win the game. So you don't tell a guy that in that moment. Like, we didn't tell him that yet, because to me, it wasn't to that point yet. So you don't want to tell a guy, hey, slide to before you go out of bounds there in this particular case, and then be yourself in 2nd and 10. You want him to try to get as many yards as he possibly can. So because you're fighting, you want to keep the drives going more so even, than you want the time to wear off. Now, it's the same thing, like when you break the huddle and you let the clock run down to 1, it gives you less time to operate up at the line of scrimmage, which are all things that, yes, you do in 4-minute, but all 4-minute plays are not created equal, if that makes sense. Like, there's some times where you're playing it that way, and there's some times that you're not. You know, and so again, it's little minute things like that. And we think a lot about these things, but and again, like after that, we got the first down. So I understand. I get your question. I understand it's a fair question, but what I'm point to you is not all these 4-minute plays are played exactly the same, and that's why, because again, it's about you're up 2, right, and a field goal beats you, and so there's things that change. Now, as the clock goes, and again, I'm trying to educate you as much as I possibly can without giving away too much. As that clock goes, if that thing's a little bit, lower or under 2 minutes or whatever it is, right, then you play in that a little bit differently. But we're north of the 4-minute right there, and up 2 points, and so that's played it's just a little bit different.
Thank you.
We'll take these last 2. So go ahead, Chris, and then Jeff.
Hey, Nick, after a loss like the one he had Sunday, is this a type of week where you kind of lean on the guys a little bit more and try to put a little bit extra more pressure on them? Or is this one where you just say, you know what, let's just focus on the Dolphins and just move on?
All weeks, all the weeks we want to go about our preparation the exact same way. It's always about that. I think that what happens, you set a standard of what you want the week to look like, and we don't try to make them guess like this week's more important this week, or not saying you're saying that, and I'm trying to answer your question the best I can. But it's business as usual. We had some hard conversations today as coaches. We had some hard conversations from together as a team to make sure that we got better from this game, and then when Wednesday comes in, we'll be all focused 100% on Miami, and we know they're a good football team, and we got to be ready to go.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Nick, what was your evaluation of the offensive play calling after watching the film versus when you were in it?
Yeah, I thought again, Brian did a nice job. I think when you really look at it, there's some detail things, right? Again, there's always going to be detailed things as coaches you want back. There's always going to be detailed things as players you want back. So there's some detailed things there. And when we talk about a design of a play, I'm always going to take the brunt of that of, hey, this design wasn't good enough. So there definitely was a couple of those that the design of it, I'm like, I didn't really like the design of this play right here. And to me, when that's the case, that's 100% on me. And then as you look at it, it's going to be hard to sustain drives, to score points when you turn the ball over. And the turnovers were all, it was all something different, each one of them, right? It wasn't all on one guy. Jalen gets 3 interceptions to his name, but they're not all on him. They're not all on him. In fact, I only saw one of them that was on Jalen that he'll want back. The other ones were on, other things. And I'm not going to sit here and say this was on this one. One of them was on me. And then, you all can look at it to see who you think the other one was on. But so I didn't think, again, there's some designs you want back. But again, I think the main issue, I thought Brian did a fine job. And I thought the main issue was obviously anytime you turn the ball, anytime you're -4 in the turnover category, it's going to be tough to win that game, and it's going to be tough to score points, and it's going to be tough to sustain drives.
Thanks for your time, Coach.